give a big round of applause, everyone. Mr. Atul Shirodkar is felicitating Mr. Prasad Menon, CEO, Incubation and Business Acceleration. I would now request Sri Atul Shirodkar to please felicitate Mr. Dheeraj Kumar, Regional Head of the Open Network for Digital Commerce. Please give a big round of applause, everyone. I would now like to invite Sri Anand Kulkarni, MEDC committee member, to felicitate Sri Bharat Kothari, CEO, ISPARC MSSU Foundation. Please give a big round of applause, everyone. Anand Kulkarni, sir, I would now request you to please felicitate Sri Jaideep Pawar, the MEDC State Committee Chairman for Innovation, Incubation and Startup. Please give a big round of applause.
Just correct, the name is Bhavesh Kothari. पहला नाम जो लिया ना आपने, he is Bhavesh Kothari.
We are now done with the felicitation ceremony. Over to you, Sri Jaideep Pawar.
Good afternoon. After the exciting inaugural session, I have an honor to introduce our first speaker today in this session, Ms. Nidhi Chaudhary, IS Commissioner Skill, Employment, Entrepreneurship and Innovation Department, and CEO of Maharashtra State Skill Development Society and Maharashtra State Innovation Society. Recently, she has joined National Gallery of Modern Arts, Mumbai, Ministry of Culture as a director. She is IS with an accomplished achievement in, she is IS of 2012 batch, known for her excellence in public service and strong leadership. Her academic qualifications include MA in English Literature from University of Rajasthan, where she was a gold medalist, a MA in Public Administration, a MA in Rural Development, JIIB, CAIIB, UGC NET, MA in Public Policy, and MA in Sociology. With her vast educational background, she brings a strong academic foundation in her administrative roles. Ms. Nidhi's journey in public service began as a probationary officer at LBSNNA Mussoorie, where she honed her skills and laid foundation for a stellar career. Building on this experience, she served as assistant collector in Thane, where she showcased her ability to handle diverse responsibility with efficiency and effectiveness. Even as a probationer, she executed demolition exercises in the city of Ambernath as a chief officer. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ms. Nidhi Chaudhary, and we request her to share her thoughts with us. Please.
Thank you for inviting me, MEDC, distinguished dais. Actually, yesterday only I joined the National Gallery of Modern Arts under the Ministry of Culture. And I have been requesting MEDC to cancel my presence here because until last week I was Commissioner Skill Development, CEO of Maharashtra State Innovation Society, and I had all rights to speak and discuss the schemes that are being implemented by the government of Maharashtra. As of today, I should be excited about the beautiful auditorium that we are in with my current portfolio. I sit at NGMA Mumbai, which has a legacy of promoting contemporary arts. But I have not forgotten what I was doing until last week, until 2 days back. So I would want to share what government of Maharashtra does for startups, what government of Maharashtra does for MSMEs. Understand that MSME as a sector is one of the most important sector. It's the largest employer, as all of us know. It was discussed in the previous session also. Uh, Against one person that gets employed in an MSME, there are 6 more employment opportunities that gets generated, was told by one of the speaker. Uh, MSMEs are also largest contributors in exports in India. They they are biggest contributors to GDP in the state of Maharashtra also. When we consider it as a sector, it definitely is the area which will turn India into a $5 trillion economy. And as was promised by one of the speaker, that we may achieve it 1 year earlier than what is contemplated. MSMEs are biggest contributors in the state of Maharashtra also, and all the goals and dreams of turning Maharashtra into a $1 trillion economy can only be achieved if all of you become stronger day by day. While there have been issues, maybe initially with the implementation of GST, and before skills, I was in GST and I would attend MSME conferences on GST and would hear from them what are the grievances about GST. And there were hiccups which came with the launch of GST. But gradually, even the GST department started started simplifying the taxation structure. And thankfully, we have come to a stage where a lot of grievances are addressed. From Government of Maharashtra Skill Development Department, schemes which have been launched, I would wish to address on the CMYKPY, Mukhyamantri Yuva Karya Prashikshan Yojana. This scheme allows you to hire interns, and the expenditure for the interns will be borne by the state of Maharashtra. So if there is an enterprise which is hiring more than 20 employees, you can hire 10% of the workforce from interns from colleges like Sindham College or any college of your choice from the sector of your choice. So against 12th standard, government pays 6,000. For diploma ITI, if you want skilled manpower, government pays 8,000. For graduates, government is going to pay 10,000. And the target that government of Maharashtra has set is 10 lakh internship to be offered in a year's time. And this is a big opportunity before all the MSMEs to get these young boys and girls into your premises, give them some exposure on what is it that happens in an MSME, give them some on-the-job training, and through that, they may turn into your asset in the near future if you find some spark in them. If after the training, if you believe that they can be part of your workforce, you can keep continuing them. Other than that, there is another scheme which is Maharashtra Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme. Under that, even this limit of 20 people is not there. There, the limit is up to 25% of the workforce. Even the small enterprises can have apprentices from the market, and there is this requirement of 12th pass out is also not there. So you can have 10th pass out, you can have 10th fail also. So there are different trades, optional trade, designated trade, under which you can have apprentices in your sector. Though Maharashtra is number one in the state, number one in the country as far as Maharashtra Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme goes or National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme goes, NATS goes, still the potential that we have in terms of the number of MSMEs that we have in Maharashtra, in terms of the number of corporates that we have in Maharashtra, this is still underachieved. So there is a potential wherein all of you can go on board on the NAPS portal, NATS portal, MAPS portal, CMYKPY. You can go on rojgar.mahaswam.gov.in portal and register yourself to take these apprentices, to take these interns. From the state fund, they will be supported. Other than that, if you are into a sector wherein you need masons, you need electricians, carpenters, or some skilled manpower, which is being trained by the ITIs, all the ITI students, all the ITIs, we have 419 government ITIs and 500 plus private ITIs. Each of the ITI student is mandated to do on-the-job training. And in that on-the-job training, the batches can come and they can be employed by you. They can be, because these are trained students, they can be brought in your premises for painting, to carpentry, to electrician, to robotics, to drones, to sewing machine, sewing technology, pay, fashion technology, pay, bakery, cooking. There are all sorts of courses, 85 plus trades, which are there in ITIs. If you associate with your nearest ITI, then you can get this workforce readily available to you, working under you, with you, under the supervision of the ITI instructor. What do we do in innovation sector? All this was about ITI and about the MSME collaboration, about what commissioner employment can do under the CMYKPY scheme. Under the startup ecosystem, what do we do? So for startup, there is a Maharashtra startup policy, which we are implementing since 2016. And under this policy, every startup, after the registration and recognition by DPIIT, they can get support for patents, they can get support for quality testings, they can get seed capital funding from the two funds which are available with the government of Maharashtra Skill Development Department. We have recently launched a scheme, which is Ahilyabai Holkar Mahila Startup Samman Yojana. And the rationale and the reasoning behind introduction of that scheme, which was launched in the budget, was when we found out that we have a lot of startups. Like it was mentioned that 1 lakh plus registered startup in our country. Of them, 1/5 are in Maharashtra. Of all the unicorns, 1/4 of them are from Maharashtra. But how many of them are led by women? How many of them are actually led by women? So when we tried to study this, we found that in the country, hardly 18% of the startups are led by women, founded by women. When we launched this scheme, the scheme is very plain, simple scheme. We are going to give a grant of 1 lakh to 25 lakh rupees. There is no return, no investment. It is just a plain grant, just to encourage and acknowledge the women-led startups. So when the perusals happened, when the screening happened before me, we found out that some of the startups, while the woman was shown as 51% ownership, it was actually her husband or her son who was leading that startup. These startups were shortlisted, but overall, in a year's time, 100 plus startup every year we will shortlist. For next 5 years, the scheme has been launched. Other than that, from World Bank funds, SIDBI is giving $100 million grant. Uh, this is coming from World Bank, and women entrepreneurs are going to get this grant. Once again, it is a grant, it is not an investment. So we will give you, after perusing your applications, after going through your proposal, and you get it for promotion of the enterprise that you're doing. Other than that, because as was mentioned also, the startup from idea to the product, there is a dark area in between in which a lot of startups die. How to ensure that a good idea never dies an early death and reaches that ultimate culmination of being a product. For that, Maharashtra State Innovation Society supports incubation centers. And I'm very happy to share, even Ashish ji is here. His incubation center, Magic, in Aurangabad is supported by the Maharashtra State Innovation Society. In Mumbai, Mumbai University, and Bhavesh ji is here. His incubation center, IS Park, is also supported by Maharashtra State Innovation Society. So we give a support of 5 crore rupees over a period of 5 years. And there are private sector incubation centers also, like Jain International Trade Organization, IIT Mumbai, Riddle Somaiya is also associated with us. So more than 28 incubation centers are also getting funding support from us. Startups get expo support from the Innovation Society, not just in Maharashtra, but across the country, and also internationally. We send selected startups for giving them an exposure in national and international market, where they can project their ideas, where they can get investors also. So there are these schemes which are being implemented by the state for promotion of startups. Under MSME, I'm sure there would be speakers coming from the MSME department. Uh, how, the schemes that I was implementing when I was working as collector in Raigad or Mumbai Suburban, CMEGP, PMEGP, Mudra, Tarun, Shishu Loan, and there are lots of bank linkage related schemes which are being introduced by government, knowing fully well that how much soever these schemes are, there is still a credit shortfall that we find in the sector. The requirement of funds that is there, and the processing of credit applications by banks, there is a lot of hesitancy. The NPAs come from all sectors, but hesitancy comes more when it comes from small enterprises, especially in banking. So how to address this? Because of this, the government promotes these kind of schemes, CMEGP, PMEGP, Shishu, Tarun, Mudra. Other than that, also recently Government of India has come with PM Vishwakarma scheme. Vishwakarmas are small enterprises, very small enterprise in the village level, which also gets the training support from Government of India and Government of Maharashtra. These are a few schemes. I am sure other panel speakers would explain, and when the speakers from MSME sectors will come, they would speak more on what is being done. How much soever we are doing, there will certainly be certain gap. Uh, Probably you are not hearing us enough, or we are not hearing you enough, and that gap may be the reason why the schemes never reach their optimal potential. When a scheme get launched, all of us, when we design it, when we plan it, when we execute it, our intention is to saturate it. So when we say saturate, so like Ahilyabai Holkar Mahila Startup Scheme, when we were planning, we really, really want every single women-led startup, meaningfully led by women, to get that award. But somewhere, some gaps always remain, and not everyone reaches you, and not everyone gets recognized, appreciated. So in order to address that gap, events like this and organizations like MEDC can play a great role. All my best wishes to MEDC for today's event, and all my best wishes to each one of you. Grow big, but every big industry started small. So don't worry about at what stage you are currently. Every big industry, you name the industry, there once upon a time, they just started from a garage, they just started from a small room, they started from a small space, and they kept going. So keep going. The journey of MSMEs is not easy. It is the toughest. And there is a difficulty in startup sector, there is a difficulty in MSME sector, well accepted, appreciated by the government. Having said so, still there will be failures. But step up again, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying hard. And you never know, one day you will be the Tatas and Ambanis and Adanis of the country. All my best wishes to each one of you. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am. That was insightful. Moving on with the insightful thoughts shared by Chaudhary ma'am on incubation and startups, I would like to invite Shri Prasad Menon, CEO of Center of Incubation and Business Acceleration, called as SIBA. For over 2 decades, Mr. Prasad has worked across 3 different continents in FMCG, retail, technology, with industry leaders like Buffet Van Mele, Liz Caliborn, Nokia, and Reliance brands. His last corporate assignment was in India, where he was CMO for brands like Hamleys, Paul and Shark, and Timberland. Prasad is on a governing body member and also elected vice president for Indian Science and Technology Entrepreneurs Park Business Incubators Association, ISBA, an association of business incubators in India. He is a resource person for incubator capacity building, having conducted several workshops across India. I would request Prasad to come and share his thoughts with us.
Thank you, MEDC, for giving this opportunity to address. And indeed, let me just start, because this morning we have been hearing about startups, right? And all the numbers, 100,000. By the way, you know how startups are growing. Subah bola 100,000. If you check right now on startupindia.gov.in, the number is 140,136. So just imagine the pace at which it is growing. That because in the past, if somebody said it is 1 lakh, it will take a lot of time for it to cross that number. But it's actually 1,40,000. But since this is an MSME conference and there is, let me get some definitions right. How many of you think and know the difference between an MSME and a startup? What do you think is the difference? I think we need to establish that. Am I right? Yeah, can you tell? Please. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 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 So are you an MSME owner? Okay, I would like to hear it. Just you're right. You're right. You're in the right direction. Absolutely. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Thanks for. But why my question was, thanks for giving the definition. My question was because these are all, all the audience over here have been there, done that. MSME entrepreneurs. They are not, they're not employees. They're all employers. So my question is, because a lot has been said about startups. So are we, and a lot has been also said about the different support system that exists for startups and the different support system that exists for MSME as well. So this entire lot of euphoria is happening around startups and incubation and innovation. Am I right? A lot of media attention is given to startups today. Whereas we all agree and we all know MSME is really the let's say the foundation of employment generation in India. I think the ma'am told very well, and it's established that they and one MSME will generate 6 times more employment than a startup will do. I'll give an example. Simply I always use this example. WhatsApp was worth $19 billion when Facebook acquired it, and $19 billion it's a figure that is like blows our mind. Kitne employment the uske? If the employment was not even 3-digit. So what is the point of having a WhatsApp if it cannot generate employment? So for us in India, employment generation was always and will always remain the biggest challenge. And so while we have this entire startup ecosystem building and developing, it also needs to generate employment. And actually, and I must say, I'm part of an incubator, and startups are generating employment. Fortunately, the startups that India is promoting it is generating employment. The reason being because most of the incubators where these startups are brewing are in academic institutions. So which means that many of the colleges, universities are right now hosting these incubators, which means that students are actually joining the startup movement. So let me get, so that I wanted to talk about this few times. And I think let us be honest and open about it and transparent also about it, because MSMEs usually are always looking into traditional business models and look at established business models. Normally MSMEs go into established business models. Am I right? You always, because that is the nature of MSMEs, right? Established business models. And also the sectors that MSME chooses are also traditional sectors. So whether it is fabrication, whether it is, even things like food processing, so all traditional sectors and established business models. This is where startups don't go into established business models, because if they go into established business models, nobody's going to notice them. They're not able to grow. There is no innovation there. So startups are actually the ones who typically get into more uh, creative, and also they also look at how to use new technologies. So they are not looking at established business models, they are also looking at new technologies. So for example, right now, if you talk about agriculture, somebody creates a machine of how to sort the size of onions. So typically what do, you keep those machines which has got calibration for moving big onions, small and medium onions, right? And this is, so you create a machine also, and that can be an MSME model. But if it's a startup, the startup will look at how can I use computer vision technology? How can I use computer vision technology that can detect the onions and are able to sort it automatically? Now that is the difference between a startup and an MSME. Not that MSME are not capable of it. I think this is what my today's talk is about. It's not about the lack of capability. It is just that we all have to come out of that mindset of incremental growth and look at how can we get exponential growth through disruptive technologies. How many of us, and I'm trying to be part of MSMEs over here, how many of us have actually got out of the comfort zone of our established business and got out and tried something new, have exposed ourselves to something new, have experimented and tested new technologies? And this is the second point that startups and MSMEs differ is risk ability, risk appetite. Startups founders actually have much higher appetite for risk, and MSMEs, because of the way it has been slowly brewing, right, the appetite for risk is not that high, because there's a lot to lose as well, because it's an established business. So that's the other part. And risk is an inherent, it's something that is packaged and comes with innovation. So if there is no risk, there is no innovation as well. So risk level is, because they are also, like I said, established business model versus unproven. When you go into new technology, it is unproven, right? So that's something that we need to keep in mind. The other thing, because we are running short of time, so I will be a little conscious of that, and I'll try to, because I had a lot of things that I wanted to share, but I'll try to give a little bit more, since this entire thing around startup culture has been spoken about. So besides risk, startups are also a lot more impatient. That means if you look at growth trajectory of a startup versus MSME, MSMEs are normally focused on developing the market, the region, and they are strengthening that. But startups already are looking at how can I go from early stage to seed stage to growth stage to straight IPO, right? So that journey, the trajectory and the pace at which startups think is slightly different than how MSME thinks, which means that there is so much that MSMEs can gain from the startups, and there's so much that startups can gain from MSME. What can the startups gain from the MSME? Very simple. Startups do not have the social capital, they do not have the networks, they do not also have the access to the markets, to the experience that MSMEs have. So startups can definitely gain from MSMEs. and MSMEs can also gain from startups. I'm keeping it short because I'm very conscious of all of you. There's a lot of let's say sessions that is being planned. Thank you very much, and I hope there is some time for Q&A, because I think at the end of the day, having a panel that is not able to answer some of the doubts you have after listening to them, then it is not really fruitful. So all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prasad. That was really insightful. Moving on, I would like to invite Dheeraj Kumar, Regional Head ONDC. Uh, Dheeraj is having over 20 years of experience in building strategies, management consulting, CSR, SDG, ESG, business development, regulatory and marketing strategy, digital transformation and deployment, hydrogen policy, CSR laws, STIP, which is science, technology and innovation policy for government and R&D departments. He is currently working with ONDC, which is an open network for digital commerce, which MSMEs are now largely looking at. And he is looking after southern and western region for government relations and marketing. He has also been into advisory and consulting for developing digital commerce strategies and digitalization for F&B, agriculture, MSME, and cluster development of startups and MSMEs to build various business models. He has built products and solutions and applications at national level. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dheeraj to share his views. Before that, I would request organizers to present a video which he has.
I would like to thanks to all MEDC member, all dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, all industry leaders from different institutions, and all MSME entrepreneurs members. So today's theme is about MSME and innovation. So I would like to more about the MSMEs and related to innovation. As you all of you know that in our industry, 90% industry belong to micro and nano entrepreneur. So they are the major contributor for the growth of the economy, but their contribution is not counted, maybe because of so many reasons. They are not digitized, maybe many nano entrepreneur belong to unorganized sectors, and I would say they are unprivileged in terms of they are not able to avail the all schemes released by state or central level government. So before I start my speaking, so I would like to show one video. It's not there. Okay, ठीक है, you can start PPT. So the current trend. First of all, I would like to share the current trend of the digital commerce in India. Only 5% industries, 5% in India is a digitally there is a digital e-commerce penetration in B2C and less than 1% in B2B sector. So that means 5% industries are still not digitally enabled. There could be so many reasons, because only there are a few players, only few digital commerce company, and the main reason is behind because these all e-commerce companies are working in a very bundling manner. Bundling manner is everything is operated or organized by a single operator. They have their own proprietary protocol. They have their own functions, logistic, technical infrastructure, resources, everything they have on. But if you look at the other industry verticals, other industries are working in unbundling manner. That means every large industry give outsourcing to small industries, micro or small industries, work to small level industries. But in e-commerce sector, that's not happening. So ONDC as an acronym said that Open Network for Digital Commerce. We try to unbundle this e-commerce sector, where there is a set of APIs built on an open protocol, and we build up multiple interfaces where this all e-commerce player can choose their own role, either as a buyer application or a seller application or a logistic application. Now, I will also share that how this unbundling or interoperable system in digital commerce foster innovation and bring opportunities for MSMEs. So this is the typical e-commerce transaction happening in every e-commerce platform. There is some set of activities buyer do and some set of activities seller do, and they interact with and order deliver through logistics system. So we unbundle all these functions into multiple functions, and basically ONDC is working on two underlying principle: unbundling and interoperable. See, I give you some analogy example of telecom network. When telecom services start, telecom networks start, they start with the services of telegraph. Slowly, this telecom network evolve. After telegraph, voice services introduced, data services introduced, satellite communication introduced by different players. Similarly, this open network for digital commerces start evolving, and new players with new ideas, with new innovative solutions, they are joining this network and bringing solutions. Open Network ONDC is a Section 8 company supported by DPITT under Ministry of Commerce, and we have a 27 institution as a stakeholder. They have invested money on this ONDC network. We have started ONDC network with these three services: grocery, food and beverage, and mobility. Now we have also opened a category domain in export, beauty and personal care, almost 12 category domains, including a B2B. And we are also thinking about the new service category domain. The biggest limitation of this, I mean, in current e-commerce environment is only few categories are digitally enabled. Still, there are lots of untapped potential categories which still are not digital enabled, especially in B2B sectors. Mostly business are happening in B2C sector, not in B2B. 2 years back, this ONDC has founded. We started with a transaction of 1,000. Now we have achieved 90 million transactions in this network. And on every month, we are doing 10 to 12 million transactions in this ONDC network. And surprisingly, maximum transaction, almost 80% transaction happening through nano entrepreneur or micro entrepreneur. So that's how ONDC is enabling micro entrepreneur, digitize micro entrepreneur, and bringing them into the system. Now ONDC network presence in almost 600 plus cities, and we have onboarded 6 lakh plus sellers. So in this ONDC network, there is no limitation, though it's supported by a government network. Any startup company, any e-commerce startup company can become a network partner of this ONDC network. We have almost now 100 plus platform as a network partner in this network. Maximum are e-commerce startup company. If you see, for any e-commerce startup company, initially they start with some idea, but slowly, because of so many challenges, they failed, because they have to manage everything by their own self. Now, but in ONDC network, this the complete e-commerce system is working on the sharing of resources. So if you are a e-commerce startup company, you come, if you want to join as a buyer application on ONDC network, then you don't need to worry about the seller registration. You don't need to worry about the logistics system. You don't need to worry about the other financial things. So you can choose your one role as a buyer application or as a seller application, and you can join in the ONDC network. I want to emphasize on this diagram. So here is a pool of applications: 75 seller applications, 20 buyer application, and 17 plus logistic application. Maximum are startup company, and there is a no limitation. Any player, whether it's a big e-commerce player or a small player, can join as a network, whether it's a government entity or a private entity. Anyone can join here. And we are working with the state level and central government. They have their own e-commerce application. They can also join in the ONDC network. And we are trying to make very a seamless process for seller onboarding. So any seller, whether he is a distributor, wholesaler, MSME, or any a big company, can join as a seller, can onboard through any of the application. So there are the few advantage. One advantage is if any seller onboarded through any one of the application, he don't need to register in other application. Currently, if you onboard your business into one application, you need to do multiple registration. But in ONDC network, you don't need to do multiple registration. Single registration, through the single registration, your product will be visible to all the 24 buyer application. Currently, we have a 24 buyer application, but more than 200 plus buyer application are in pipeline. We have got almost 17,000 plus interest from different e-commerce startups. There are applications. So you can onboard your business through WhatsApp. Even you can buy any product through WhatsApp. So that's how we are on daily basis, we are trying to make a seamless process. Even some seller applications have built a local language interface. Currently, if you speak about the remote area or a very tier 2 or tier 3 city level MSMEs, so they are not able to onboard themselves because they are not comfortable with the English language. So we have a build up 15 plus local language interface. So any seller who is working in a very remotest area can be onboarded, and there are a few logistic player. One of the logistic player is India Post is also integrated with ONDC. With the help of India Post, now last mile pickup and delivery is possible in the ONDC network. If you want to get an experience of how you can purchase anything through the ONDC network, these are the major buyer application. Maybe how many of you have a Paytm in your mobile? So through Paytm, you can buy something from ONDC network. And we are building a new kind of a use cases. So one of the use cases is unified mobility. So suppose you want to travel from Mumbai to Delhi. There, I mean, you need to book maybe a travel ticket through air travel or a train travel or a taxi. You need to build a one unified use case where you just need to log in into one buyer application, and you can find all the tickets at the same places. So you can build your own inventory. Same way, yesterday we have launched a financial services. So there are some player who can disburse loan within a 6 minute up to 1 crore rupees to MSME and through the mobile app only. So this kind of a services, financial services, we are trying to introduce. Even apart from disbursing of loans. So for a typical MSME, there are basically three kind of problems. One is a marketing access. If because MSME have their own challenges of marketing, physical challenges, but with the help of digital transformation or with the help of digital commerce, they can get a big market access. So that's one challenge we are solving through ONDC network. Second challenge is about the funding. You required funding for your working capital or your industry. So we have a player, those who providing a funding. I mean, within a 6 minute, they are providing funding. Plus, there is a one more challenge of payment period for MSME. So generally, there is a payment period of 45 days to 60 days. But there are few players who are joining with ONDC network, coming with the solution that immediately once your product will be delivered to your buyer, on the same day you will get the payment. So that's how you can improve your operating cycle. Even we have introduced open network for skills. So there are many new age skills are coming up, because this is a very humongous task to digitally enable 95% MSME in India. So new kind of skills are coming up, like a digital catalog, not only on a textual basis, even though a new video based catalog or AI generative catalogs are building up. So this is an opportunity for new young entrepreneurs. They can learn these skills and learn about the data analytics. And with the help of ONDC network, I would like to share few use cases. One of the use cases is in Dhule district. There is a one small kirana store. He applied all the learning into his business, and he increased his sale up from 9 lakh to 56 lakh. Within a 2 month of time, he increased sales 600%. And that's I mean, one of the good use case. Second use case is, there are few players who, mobility player, those who are not charging any driver commission fees from driver. So ultimately, 40%, generally in general, 25% to 40% commission driver need to pay to the mobility application platform. But in UNDC network, the driver who is utilizing the mobility application listed with ONDC network, so they don't need to pay 40% commission. So indirectly, their 40% income is increasing. We have almost onboarded 7,000 plus FPOs across the country. Indirectly, 20 lakh farmers are onboarded through ONDC network, and they are getting and availing different kind of services. So their product is, I mean, they are able to get a market from across all India, and their product from Tamil Nadu to Delhi, Delhi to Tamil Nadu, everywhere trade is happening through ONDC network. So I have a limited time, but there are many other stories to tell. So I just give you, I mean, brief description of ONDC. ONDC is not an app, not an application, not a platform. It's a network, and it's the first time is happening across the world, where we are building a network centering approach rather than platform centering approach. Platform generally try to control on buyer and sellers, but in through ONDC network, we are trying to make a very democratized, decentralized, and decontrol system, where a user have a full control on his business. So he can set his own terms and condition. He can set his own uh, uh, commissions. He can design his whole business, whether he wants to deliver 1 or 2 kilometer away, or pan India, or globally. He can decide, and he can opt all the logistics. So in ONDC network, there is a system of on network logistic. Whenever there is a query comes for delivery, all 16 or 17 logistic partner immediately send a quotation. Whichever is the lowest quote, seller will pick it up and give price to buyer. So for an e-commerce company, generally, I mean, because of so many expenses, they charge very high commission from seller. But in ONDC network, because of this sharing resources of infrastructure, seller applications are able to onboard or register almost a minimal cost. In fact, 0 rupees cost, as well as they are not charging any high commission fees. So there are some of the advantage. So I would request all of you, there is a one WhatsApp chatbot on ONDC site. If you Google ondc.org, there is a WhatsApp chatbot. You can start communication, conversation with him, and you will get all the information download. And we also open a ONDC academy. There are list of videos. You can learn from these videos, and you can certify yourself. So all these network partner, they are also looking for resources. So if anyone from any college graduate or any startup get this certificate, so they will get a business or job opportunities to work with these seller network partners. So So I would, I mean, thanks to all of you.
Thank you, sir. That was quite insightful, and I'm sure ONDC will be the next UPI for specifically for MSME ecosystems. Calling on our last speaker, Mr. Bhavesh Kothari, who is a CEO at MSSU iSpark Foundation. He's currently leading the early stage startup incubator, which has been built by India's first and only skill university called Maharashtra State Skills University, MSSU. Armed with more than 2 decades of professional experience, he is credited to be pioneer in startup mentoring domain and has mentored and nurtured over 7 to 8 dozen startups in last 12 years. A chemistry majors graduate from Mumbai University with postgraduate degree in event management, a diploma in international trade with MBA in international business, a Six Sigma Green Belt certified professional along with certification as an entertainer TM. He carves for learning all the time. I would request Mr. Kothari to share his wisdom with us.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know the energy is down, right? Because so much of Gyan. So let me take this small opportunity to share some insights. But before that, thank you so much to the esteemed organizers and to all of you for inviting me here. Uh, I come with a varied background, and as I was introduced, right? I have been an entrepreneur. I have been on the side of MSMEs. I've worked with founders, then now known as startups as well. I've worked with large corporates, being on their side as a client as well, right? And recently, I have been entrusted and given charge of driving an incubation center by a very dynamic women entrepreneur lady, Dr. Purva Palkar. And when she was putting me in charge, she said, "Look, can we make this incubator a benchmark?" And I said, "Look, we already have a couple of benchmarks here, so it's going to be a very daunting task." But having said that, I think incubators are one of the most important breeding grounds for startups, especially innovation. Uh, while I was coming here, I was trying to think what is the kind of topic that I should be covering, because MSME startup incubation, I think you need to create a link between all this, and one common link is that, look, growth, uh, profits, right? So these are very, very important factors when you look at businesses. And I also fortunately have been representing a magazine called SME World, and I've closely worked with BSE, NSE, over the past 17, 18 years. I've seen the growth of how BSE SME Exchange has been for the past 10 years. I've seen the startup exchange growing in, right? So there are a lot of opportunities, if I have to use that word. There are a lot of platforms and mechanisms for not just startups, but for MSMEs as well. Now, how do we utilize that, right? So, for example, if you look at the incubation space where I come from, there are more than 750, I think 740 odd incubators in the country, right? And if you look at the ratio versus startup and incubation, I think I could look at approximately 170 odd startups versus one incubator. I think that's a significant number, and it's increasing, right, day by day. Uh, the challenges are as equal as the opportunities, right? Now, how do we bridge those gaps? One of the thoughts that came to my mind was, uh, there's something called a CSR, we all know, right? 2%, which has been earmarked. But how many SMEs or micro enterprises can actually look at that? Uh, I think rather than looking at CSRs, we could look at collaborations. There are a lot of problems as SMEs we face, right? Right from skill to innovation to product, so on and so forth. Uh, can we build a more cohesive ecosystem where you could say, if you have a problem statement, can we go to an incubation and say, hey, look, I have this problem statement. Do you have a startup, or do you have a college who could solve this problem for me, and I'm willing to extend the infrastructure resources, can be a small amount of funding, because ultimately what happens is it actually helps us as business owners, as MSMEs, to actually create a more holistic ecosystem which is conducive to startups also, to enterprises also. There are a lot of, Nidhi ma'am mentioned, right? But those are all support mechanisms. What are we as business owners trying to achieve out of it? Uh, so some of the areas that we at MSSU iSpark are focusing on is skill. That's been our first area. We are a very fairly new incubation center, but with the zeal and wherewithal of creating an impact, so that it is not just about supporting startups through funding, through mentoring, but also to create mechanisms of collaborations with industries, with academias. So for the past 2 years, MSSU have signed more than 25 MOUs. And these are not just MOUs which are on paper, but we have started implementing this, as we speak forward. Similarly, at, iSpark Foundation, we have a very robust infrastructure in Vidya Vihar, where we are starting this incubation center. I would be happy to reach out to all of you. We have a lot of students, I'm given to understand here, right? Those are innovative ideas. We recently signed off a scheme called Amrut, which is also supporting student startup innovation. This is called Academy of Maharashtra Research Upliftment and Training, right? So where we are providing up to 3 lakhs of grant. And again, this is no strings attached. The only string is that you need to be present at the incubation center, because we have seen and we have experienced, and I am sure Prasad will agree, a lot of startup go out to incubators for grants. I think that is one mechanism, or that is one support mechanism that you have, right? If you're looking at growing your enterprise, you should go beyond just monetary benefits. How do you look at mentor support? How do you look at industry support? So these are some of the thoughts that I thought, let me share it, and let me keep it very sweet and short, so that we have more time for, I think, Q&A, and that's where we could address this information. So with that, thank you so much, and delighted to be here with all of you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. Kothari. Due to paucity of time, I would request audience to reach out to panelists one-on-one during the sessions. I will now hand over the mic to the MC, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our moderator and esteemed panelists for a very, very insightful session. Please give a big round of applause for everyone. I would request you all to please pose for a group picture. Thank you so much, everyone. Our next session is centered around a crucial aspect of MSME growth, which is finance opportunities for MSME. Access to finance is one of the most significant hurdles for MSMEs, and today we'll explore the various opportunities and solutions available. We are privileged to have Captain Gajanan Karanjikar, the MEDC State